News reads of an event in Hiroshima City where an older woman gets bitten by a dog. This news blares inside a manga studio, where manga artists are busy penciling, inking, and completing panels. One of the manga assistants is anxious about an upcoming school reunion, not knowing what to do. As the group listlessly chats, they notice more and more of the same incidents prop up on the news. Sees an abnormal pattern in the news, but her workmates Mitani and Hideo Suzuki don't pay attention to it at all. The manga assistants are all busy daydreaming or doing their job to notice. Later that night, Suzuki goes home to his girlfriend's apartment, Teko, freshly out of the bath. As Suzuki eats his noodles, Teko gives him the cold shoulder, exchanging no words throughout the night. Later on, he continues to try working on his own manga, looking at his Newcomer Manga Artist Award from 15 years ago. Suzuki then checks a hidden cabinet where he hides his prized possession, a hunting rifle and a handgun. Teko wakes up, catching Suzuki doing weird poses in the mirror, annoyed at her boyfriend for not bringing in enough money. He tries to assure her that he will be bringing in money as soon as his manga gets serialized. Later that day, Suzuki visits a publisher, presenting his new work. The editor checks his manuscript only to comment on how typical his characters always are. In the publishing house, he meets Kurori, a successful batchmate from the same Newcomer Award 15 years ago. They greet each other, with Kurori fake-checking on Suzuki's work. The publisher outright rejects his manuscript, asking him to try harder next time. At home, Teko gets into an argument with Suzuki, angry at how useless he is for not bringing in enough money. She starts throwing all of Suzuki's belongings, thrashing his place while planning to sell all his manga and gun collection. Teko shouts in frustration as Hideo tries to run after his dream, only for him to fail continuously because of how normal he is. Teko throws him out, frustrated with how old she is, but has no real future with Suzuki. He apologizes once again and tries to go to a park, homeless at the moment. He starts reading a manga in the park, frustrating himself with how good it is. The next day, Suzuki goes to work with more news from the day before. Hiromi excuses herself, feeling a little under the weather. Mitani starts to gossip that Hiromi is sleeping with the mangaka, annoyed with how unfair their status in life is. The mangaka enters the office, but he starts to look and feel weird. His eyes are redder and his skin paler. The manga assistants fall asleep, with Suzuki waking up to Teko's call. As he tries to answer the call, Chinooks fly over their location, with the military mobilizing all around. Teko apologizes to Suzuki during the call, asking him to visit her home in her weak voice. By morning, Suzuki visits Teko's apartment, calling out to her but to no avail. As she goes up and flails around, Teko attacks Suzuki, trying to bite him. Her uncontrollable attacks pull him in, attacking him with unbelievable strength. Teko loses all her teeth in the process, and she eventually hits her head in the sharp trophy, dying in one stab. Suzuki runs away, seeing the military prepare for an all-out strike. People are running with bites on their arms. He returns to the manga studio, where he knows the people. He sees Mitani with a baseball bat, full of blood all over his shirt. Suzuki sees the mangled body of Hiromi, together with the mangaka walking around with a knife stuck on his chest. Mitani starts attacking the mangaka, only to be barely hurt by his swings. Mitani unleashes his rage on the mangaka, ready for the upcoming zombie apocalypse. However, Mitani was bitten in the leg, killing himself before he entirely turns. Suzuki runs away again, moving fast on foot without knowing where to go. He runs around town where the infected start to run rampant. More and more infected surround him, with every uninfected running away. There is utter chaos in the streets, with vehicles crashing against each other and people getting hit. Suzuki tries to use his hunting rifle to realize he is daydreaming. He then rides a taxi with two other people, asking the driver to floor it to any place away from the city. Within the vehicle, they learn that the entirety of Japan is under attack from the infected. A rich politician tries to call the JSDF, only for Suzuki to realize that he is bitten. The politician starts to turn, biting the taxi driver. The taxi driver accidentally ejects the politician from the vehicle, only for him to turn and start rampaging. Suzuki quickly thinks on his feet, putting on both his seatbelt and the last passenger before they crash. As he wakes up, Suzuki and the other passenger crawl out of the wreckage as he wakes up. They wake up to see a blockade of vehicles with all passengers dead. Suzuki and the passenger then check only, discovering the virus to be ZQN, which corrupts your personality, putting the body in extreme changes. Online forums say that the virus can't survive high altitudes, which means any survivor would need to climb Mount Fuji. The pair travels through the day, the girl introducing herself as Hiromi. They reach a nearby shrine and rest for the night. They share a melon pan, talking about their valued possessions as their amamori, or protection charms. They wake up the next day, sharing a rather romantic moment with each other. As Hideo looks on, he notices a weird rash on Hiromi's neck, signifying that she's bitten. She revealed a baby bit her 2 days ago, but somehow she hasn't turned yet. However, Hiromi is calm and unafraid to die. Hideo tries to give her hope, encouraging her to go up Mount Fuji to stop her transformation. They move through a lush forest pass, but Hiromi lags behind, sad that she can turn any moment soon. She gives Hideo her precious iPod before finally changing and dying. Hideo runs away, only to see another zombie. As he's about to be bitten, a half-turned Hiromi protects him, now with super strength. Hiromi offers to help him, but Hideo decides to bring her with him. While she continues to be a zombie, her resolve allows her to be a valuable member of the team. They continue to travel through dense woods while Hiromi stays catatonic. Days pass, and they reach a mountain road. Hideo travels to the nearby Fuji Royal Outlet Park, trying to look for supplies or other signs of life. As they go around, they see the entire park in ruins. A ZQN attacks Hideo while getting supplies, only for a group of survivors to save him. They travel through the hordes of infected, with some of them not surviving the runaround. They reach a survivor camp, the 7-meter high safety zone. Yura introduces Hideo around camp, welcoming him inside. He hits it off with the other survivors, many of whom think he's cool about carrying around a catatonic Hiromi. They try to settle into the camp, with Hiromi reacting to the song she taught Hideo. Later on, Hideo tries to get the lay of the land, seeing many ZQN running around. He sees several infected who are showing remarkable feats of strength and agility, only to die from trying weird things and remembering their past. One of them, a mutated runner ZQN, shows unbelievable leg strength. The group plans to take on the food storage basement containing food that can last half a year. Hideo discovers that Yura is in full control of the camp, where his word is law among the inhabitants. They pressure him to give away his gun and sacrifice Hiromi. A standoff happens between Hideo and Yura, resulting in Yura killing Hiromi. The group immediately disables Hideo, but this results in a mutiny against Yura, as one of the thugs gains control of Hideo's gun. Later on, Hideo goes out, only to find that some survivors helped Hiromi. She survived the bolt to her skull, with the arrow missing her brains. The nurse, calling herself Yabu, notes that Hiromi is still somehow alive and not infected, living with both a pulse, but without emotions. Yabu reveals that she ran away from the hospital she was supporting, but she's trying to atone for her cowardice. While she encourages Hideo to escape with Hiromi, the former is dejected, unable to protect Hiromi without his gun. Hideo laments his situation, revealing how much he hates himself for not standing up for the people he loves. The survivors plan to start their raid of the food stores, starting with the women making noise to attract ZQN. Yura is forced to lead the pack with Hideo, running towards the underground parking. In the dark, the group moves chaotically, with only flashlights illuminating their surroundings. As they move, Yura separates himself in stealth. Other ZQN also move about in the dark. As the building lights suddenly turn on, the men start to go out and loot the premises. As they take everything inside, music plays in the speakers, slowly attracting the ZQN and forcing them to defend themselves from the attack. More zombies come into the basement, and the looters are dying one by one. Everyone runs for their life, with many others dying from the ZQN bites. Yura, meanwhile, increases the volume of the music, attracting all ZQN indoors. Hideo tries to continue looting, hiding inside a locker room. Outside, the mutated ZQN successfully infiltrates the camp, killing everyone inside one by one. Yura finally shuts off the lights and opens the parking door garage. Meanwhile, Yabu radios that the roof is compromised and they need help. The turn of events leaves Hideo with no choice but to try and get out of the locker. He imagines several scenarios, again and again, only to realize he will die if he goes out. He lacks the courage he needs until Yabu reminds Hideo that he needs to pick himself up. Hideo starts to make his way around the basement while Yabu tries to carry Hiromi to safety. Hideo finds his gun again, with one ammo loaded in. Yabu and Yura meet up, with the latter encouraging her to leave Hideo and Hiromi behind. Yabu notices that Yura is infected, immediately becoming a zombie as he gouges his eyes out. Yura goes on to run after Yabu, but Hideo asks them to duck, leading to a straight headshot, blowing Yura's brains out. As they start to run away, they find Sango, the thug that mutinied against Yura. He tries to go with them while Abe, the quartermaster, runs to the group, bringing a gigantic horde of ZQN. The horde corners them, but the group starts fighting back, with Hideo proficiently using the rifle. The survivors get overrun, with everyone barely making a dent against the horde. Hideo eventually gets disabled by a fat ZQN, falling over him and pinning him under its weight. Sango gets overrun, dying after being torn to pieces. Abe also gets overrun, killing his wife and committing suicide after. Only Hideo and Yabu remain extremely tired, but they keep defending their position. Hideo keeps shooting, killing more than a dozen ZQN. He burns through all the ammunition he has, killing zombies just in time. Exhausted, Hideo finds one last ZQN to kill, the mutated jumper zombie. They go into a standoff, finally using all his ammo except for one. As he struggles to pick up the loose ammo, he gets off a shot in the nick of time. Yabu and Hideo exchange tired smiles, only for the mutant ZQN to stand up again. The infected targets Yabu and Hiromi this time, but Hideo immediately notices. As the ZQN runs, Hideo uses his gun to smash through the zombie's head, killing it once and for all. As Yabu, Hideo, and Hiromi leave, they look at the surroundings one last time, with Abe's corpse sticking out. Yabu continues to drive, while Hideo looks at his hands, tired from the crazy event that transpired. Eventually, Yabu reveals her name to be Tsugumi Oda, exchanging laughs along the way. Hideo finally gets to rest, looking outside and enjoying the warmth of the sun.